I did everything right and they indicted me.
Cocaine, 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 cocaine,
I did everything right and they indicted me.
Ron DeSantis' mission to make America Florida isn't going so well. I mean, how does a man who took on Mickey Mouse and lost win the U.S. presidency? Things look so bleak. Even his own super PAC spokesman, Steve Cortez, sounded the alarm on a thing called Twitter Spaces, which I guess Elon expects you to pay for, saying, quote, right now in national polling, we are way behind. It's an uphill battle, but clearly Donald Trump is the runaway frontrunner. Wow. Yikes. So it kind of makes sense that DeSantis released what is possibly the most bizarre ad in political history, warning to our viewers, this is indeed real life.
Make America great again.
Psych!
Congratulations, Ron DeSantis. Mission accomplished. You win.
What the hell? I mean, what is up with the laser beam eyeballs, Ron? Are you okay? Because, of course, America is thirsty for a candidate spliced with footage of oily bodybuilders and oily, sad Achilles, which, by the way, is totally giving incel TikTok. But jokes aside, the ad's gross homophobia and transphobia are so extreme. Even the president of the log cabin Republicans slammed it.
You've got some strange imagery of Ron DeSantis being between two oiled up, hunky type of men. I mean, the ad smacked of both homophobia and homoeroticism at the same time. So anybody who's a political professional looking at this is really just very confused as to what the point of this ad was and what the intention of it was.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it kind of sums up how most Americans feel about the entire campaign to begin with. Confused. Because the Florida blueprint is a prototype they reject. The war on woke is a fight they never signed up for, which is why the Supreme Court's conservative majority had to use a fake case to legalize discrimination against gay people. Someone clearly missed the memo, because Ron still apparently thinks running on hating gay and trans people and weaponizing the government against them and also doing a weird ad is a winning campaign tactic. Why it never will be, next.
And I'm going to leave aside the strangeness of trying to prove your manhood by putting up a video that splices images of you in between oiled up, shirtless bodybuilders. Who are you trying to help? Who are you trying to make better off? And what public policy problems do you get up in the morning thinking about how to solve?
And with that, the first openly gay cabinet secretary dropped the mic on Baby MAGA's anti-LGBTQ ad. The ad serves as Ron DeSantis' latest effort to weaponize homophobia to boost his lackluster White House campaign. And joining me now to discuss is Clay Cane, Democratic strategist and host of The Clay Cane Show on Sirius XM's Urban View, and Michelangelo Signorilli, host of The Michelangelo Signorilli Show, also on Sirius XM. We have a whole Sirius XM segment here. Mike, I got to go to you first, Michelangelo Signorilli, because we've all internally all day been trying to explain what this ad is. And my senior producer just gave me the best answer. It's somebody who is running a super hyper local campaign whose references no one would understand outside of Florida. Because I don't even know what that ad is supposed to be. It looks like an ad for like a nightclub or something. Can you explain it? What do you take from the ad?
Okay, well, let me give you a couple of ideas of what they're trying to do. First of all, he's desperate, and he is trying to out-hate Trump, right? And so he's doing two things. He's trying to show that Trump is too pro-LGBTQ, which is insane because Trump was the most anti-LGBTQ president. He finds a couple of things Trump said in 2016 and puts them in there. The second thing he's trying to do, which is what we're all saying is bizarro and weird and crazy, is he's trying to reach these incels, the Nick Fuentes crowd, the neo-Nazis. They're recruiting incels. They're misogynistic. They're homophobic. And he's trying to connect with them. All of that imagery, the bodybuilders, Christian Bale as American Psycho, connecting with all of that ugly alpha male stuff. He's trying to get those people on board his campaign. And he thinks everybody else will just say, I don't know what that is, or won't notice it, or will say it's just crazy.
Clay, so I guess getting the incel vote is, I guess, a way to get the Republican nomination. It's weird. Are the incels I mean, as a Democratic strategist, are you willing to concede the incel vote to Ron DeSantis?
That would be a mistake. And what's funny, when I was watching the ad, the first thing I thought was the lady protests too much. I mean, I don't understand the obsession that DeSantis has with the LGBT community. I'm getting Ted Haggard, Larry Craig vibes. If y'all know who that is, look it up. It's disturbing to me. But what's interesting is that when Republicans bomb in the polls, which he is, they go for that Southern strategy 2.0 tactic. So this is like the gay version of the Willie Horton ad. And he's hoping it's going to resonate with his base, incentivize his base. And I hope that it won't. I hope that incel base is not fiery enough. But the truth of the matter is, you never know. You never know with GOP voters. They elected Trump.
The thing about it is, Michelangelo, if you look at the polling, the vast majority of people, even pluralities of Republicans, have come to accept LGBTQ people as being worthy of living their lives without discrimination. 71% support gay marriage. That wouldn't have been true 10 years ago, right? I mean, the only issues that are a little underwater are issues regarding trans, but the majority, even people mostly believe transgender people, ought to have rights. That is an issue that feels very retro. What do you make of the fact that not just DeSantis, but even the Supreme Court, there's an obsession with rolling back gay rights? There's an obsession with trans people. What do you think that comes from? And what do you think the purpose of it is? Because it isn't winning new voters over.
No, for DeSantis, in a general election, this is a disaster. But everything he's done, the 6-week abortion ban, everything, it's been just about trying to make inroads with that base, and then he'll deal with it later, which I don't know. When you show those numbers, it's pretty clear. What's happening with the Supreme Court, this is all the reverberation of what Donald Trump did, right? I mean, the damage he did was incalculable, and they're speaking for a minority of Americans. This is a minority rule. We're seeing it in action, and it's only going to get worse if we don't stand up and fight really hard.
And Clay, that is the thing, is there is this sort of desperation to roll back the culture, the desperation to roll back the idea that, people want to know more history. They are terrified of books. They're terrified. But the anti-LGBTQ thing feels particularly aggressive all the way to the Supreme Court. Is there a concern among Democrats that might somehow resonate with people in a general election? Because it doesn't seem like it would. And younger people are done. Like, you're not going to get younger voters this way at all.
Listen, I think it's important that Democrats really capitalize on this. I don't think they should avoid it. I think they should really face it head on to show how hateful this is. And if I can just add really quick, the log cabin Republicans that you mentioned at the top of the segment, they are the gay version of black voters for Trump. So I hope that they realize that they're coming for you. Maybe you didn't care when the Voting Rights Act was gutted in 2013. You didn't care about affirmative action. You don't care about Roe v. Wade. They're coming for same-sex marriage. They're coming for LGBT folks. And that's the issue right now. We sometimes don't care until it impacts us personally. So I kind of laughed when I heard the head of that particular gay Republican group, because you're on the list too, whether or not you know it.
And Michelangelo, that feels to me very real. I think people are kidding themselves if they don't think the Supreme Court is going to come for all of it. Lawrence,
absolutely
everything.
True. Clarence Thomas gave us the signal in the Dobbs decision. He said they wanted to revisit that. What we just saw last week was a catastrophe for rights, and they're on a radical roll, and we've got to do everything we can to stop it.
Everybody's on the menu except white Christian conservatives. Wake up, everybody. Stay woke. Clay Kane, Michelangelo Signorelli, thank you both very much. That's tonight's ReidOut. All In with Chris Hayes starts right now.
Wow, look at this. You guys said hi. How are you guys? Good to see you. So what do you got? Go right over here? Yes. Okay.
Is there anything DeSantis could do to win over your support? No.
We have Trump at or around 60%, and we have DeSantis below 20.
Ron DeSantis has yet to be able to take a Trump voter away from Trump. Make America great again.
DeSantis is Trump light.
And honestly, we have businesses that have been locked down.
Put made in China.
And why go light when you can get the real guy?
Based on polls, he's not doing okay with anything.
DeSantis.
DeSantis would apparently tell dates he likes Thai food, but pronounced it thigh.
It smells really good, I'll tell you that.
And if they corrected him, he would make up an excuse and leave because, quote, he didn't want a girlfriend who corrected him.
Ron DeSantis does not like to make eye contact. He does not like human beings. This is a guy who notoriously is short with people.
How would they know me? Okay, think about that. I'm sick of the judgmental stuff.
He's unpleasant.
Want to wear it, fine, but this is ridiculous.
The darkness and the weirdness altogether is going to make him, I think, very off-putting.
You know, my mom or my wife.
What's with the go-go boot?
Have you ever eaten a chocolate pudding with 3 fingers?
Until, of course, Donald Trump tears his liver out and eats it live on stage.
I'll show you falling behind Trump. Any thoughts on that?
I'm not a candidate, so we'll see if and when that changes.
Then Mr. Trump said, "You're fired." I love that part.
There are those that say, you can test too much. You do know that.
Who says that?
Oh, just read the manuals, read the books.
Manuals?
Read the
What
books.
manuals?
Read the books.
What books?
What testing does?
Sorry.
Wait a minute. Let me explain. What testing does? It shows cases. It shows where there may be cases.
I've covered you for a long time. I've gone to your rallies. I've talked to your people. They love you. They listen to you. They listen to every word you say. They hang on your every word. They don't listen to me or the media or Fauci. They think we're fake news. They want to get their advice from you. And so when they hear you say everything's under control, don't worry about wearing masks, I mean, these are people, many of them are older people,
What's
Mr. President.
What's your definition of control? Yeah. Under the
It's giving them a false sense of
right
security.
Now, I think it's under control. I'll tell you what.
How? 1,000 Americans are dying a day.
They are dying. That's true. And it is what it is. But that doesn't mean we aren't doing everything we can. When I took over, we didn't even have a test. Now, in all fairness,
why would you have a test?
There was no test.
The virus
for
didn't
this.
exist. How would you have a test?
I was going to say.
Okay. Death is going up now.
Okay,
and it's 1,000 a day.
If you look at death.
Yeah, it's going
let's
up
look.
again.
Let's look.
Daily death.
Take a look at some of these charts.
I'd love to.
We're going to look.
Let's look.
And if you look at death.
It started to go up
here's
again.
One. Well, right here, the United States is lowest in numerous categories. We're lower than the world.
Lower than the world?
Lower than
what is that?
Europe.
In what?
Look.
In what?
Take a look. Right here. Here's case death.
Oh, you're doing death as a proportion of cases. I'm talking about death as a proportion of population. That's where the US is really bad. Much worse than South Korea, Germany, etc.
You can't do that. You have
Why
to go,
can't I do that?
You have to go by where. Look, here is the United States. You have to go by the cases. The cases.
Why
are
not
there.
as a proportion of
when
population?
We have somebody. What it says is when you have somebody that has where there's a case.
Oh, okay.
The people that live from those cases.
It's surely a relevant statistic to say if the US has X population and X percentage of death of that population versus South Korea.
No, you have to go by the cases.
Well, look at South Korea, for example. 51 million population, 300 deaths. It's like, it's crazy compared to...
You don't know that.
I do. It's
you don't know that.
You think they're faking their statistics? South Korea?
I won't get into that because I have a very good relationship with the country. But you don't know that.
1,000 Americans are dying a day. But I understand on cases, it's different.
No, but you're not reporting it correctly, Jonathan.
I think I am, but it's been widely reported that the US has intelligence indicating that Russia paid bounties or offered to pay bounties to Taliban fighters to kill American soldiers. You had a phone call with Vladimir Putin on July 23rd. Did you bring up this issue?
No, that was a phone call to discuss other things.
And you've never discussed it with him?
I have never discussed it with him, no. I would. I'd have no problem with it.
But you don't believe the intelligence? It's because you don't
got
believe the intelligence, that's why.
It never reached my desk. You know why? Because they didn't think it was intelligence. They didn't think it was real.
It was in your written brief, though, apparently.
They didn't think it was worthy of. I wouldn't mind. If it reached my desk, I would have done something about it. It never reached my desk because.
Do you read your written brief?
I do.
Do
I
you?
read a lot.
Really?
You know, I read a lot. They like to say I don't read. I read a lot.
Your daily intelligence
I comprehend
brief?
extraordinarily well. Probably better than anybody that you've interviewed in a long time. I did more for the black community than anybody, with the possible exception of Abraham Lincoln. Whether you like it or not, people say, "Oh, that's
you really you believe you did more than Lyndon Johnson, who passed the Civil Rights Act?"
I think I did, yeah.
How?
Because I got criminal
possibly
justice reform done. I got prison reform.
Lyndon Johnson.
I've done things.
He passed the Civil Rights Act.
How has it worked out? If you take a look at what Lyndon Johnson did.
You think the Civil Rights Act was a mistake?
How has it worked out? Because frankly, it took a long time. But for African Americans,
but you think that was a
my
mistake?
administration, Jonathan, under my administration, African Americans were doing better than they had ever done in the history of this country.
How do you think history will remember John Lewis?
I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know. I don't know John Lewis. He chose not to come to my inauguration. He chose. I never met John Lewis. Actually, I don't believe.
Do you find him impressive?
I did everything right, and they indicted me.